Welcome to SDH's coverage of the USL League Two playoffs. Brackets out. We're going to preview the round of 32 and how things are going to look this weekend. Action Friday and Saturday. So strap in, get ready, and hang on. It's going to be a preview with look at all 32 teams and all your matchups. We'll start out west, work our way back east, and let you know what's going on here in the round of 32. Western Conference at Interbay Stadium in Seattle, Washington. 5 o'clock Eastern Time, Park City and Ole Town. 10:30, it is Ballard and New Mexico United U23s. The winners play on Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Since we are officially in a no-dilly, no-dally zone, we're just going to keep going. Western Conference, Dodge Stadium, Redlands, California, and Ventura College. 10 p.m. simultaneously, Redlands and San Francisco Glens and Ventura County Fusion and Monterey Bay FC2. Southern Conference, and this is where we'll pick up some of the fun that we've been able to glean when it comes to a USL League Two. Greenwood Field, Asheville, North Carolina. Friday, 4 o'clock, it is the Villages and South Carolina United. 7:30, the homestanding Asheville City SC hosting Weston FC. Here is how Asheville City finished out their season against North Alabama. They catch up with head coach Scott Wells. Marvin Parker Jr. with the highlights, courtesy of our friends at WLOS-TV.
Greetings, I'm Marvin Parker Jr. Asheville City wraps up the regular season WNBA All-Star Game, and two cool things on our way out today. The final regular season game for the Asheville City Blues, and like the weather, it got messy quick against North Alabama. In the 10th minute, Scott Vante volleys this one off the keeper and into the back of the net to put the Blues up 1. In the 14th minute, Blues up 2-0. Lucas Gonzalez's shot is blocked, but Juan Ballas is there to rebound to make it 3-0. Then 2 minutes later, Asheville puts up another when Quincy Yerman slides this in to make it 4-0. Blues would rack up 5 more in the game to roll into the postseason on a high note as the South Central Division champs for 2023. 9-0 is the final.
When I got here 2 years ago, that was the dream, and thankfully, we made it, this season and beating at home as well. And yeah, I was a little teary at the end there. Just, it's a massive season and massive accomplishment for the club, and just so happy for everyone involved in it.
Also in the Southern Conference at War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock, Arkansas, 5 o'clock Eastern. Texas United, Nona FC, Little Rock Rangers, and AHFC Royals. Matchup will be on Sunday to determine who advances out of this particular bracket in the Southern Conference. We caught up with Trent Eskola, Director of Media and Communications for Little Rock Rangers, to find out about the season and the weekend. So what's it been like to see things grow to where Little Rock and the Rangers are that part of the community that they are?
So it's grown a lot since 2016. I was actually a member of our supporters section, the Red Watch, up until COVID when I got an internship, and now I have a full-time position with the club. So seeing it from basically 3 different perspectives has been a big change in how soccer is seen in the community. For a while, it was kind of just a fun pastime for a couple of thousand people. And after COVID, it kind of died down a little bit. Some tough seasons made it a little tough. But now that we're picking it back up, COVID's pretty much gone. It's been a game changer to the community with the World Cup in December. It was huge. There was Ranger watch parties out at our local bar. And now with the Women's World Cup coming up, I think there's a group of 20 guys that are fans of the club that are going for 2 a.m. games to watch the World Cup, and they all have Rangers jerseys on, and it's crazy to see how the community has taken not just the Rangers but soccer as a whole to its heart.
And I mean, there have been, when we had conversations in the past with our friends there at Little Rock, it's been about the battle for traffic cones and things like that have been a part of the development of everything. For someone who hasn't seen League Two and may not necessarily understand its dynamic, how would you explain League Two when it comes to the overall soccer picture?
So League Two, as somebody who's seen a lot of lower league soccer with UPSL, NPSL, I think it's a step above NPSL in the fact that the players that come in are from high-level clubs. This season, we've brought in multiple guys from Missouri State, who's been in the NCAA tournament for years. Memphis, who just made it this past year. Central Arkansas. obviously. And in fact, we got a guy from San Francisco that came in. He just transferred to Florida Gulf Coast. So it's a bit interesting to see how it's kind of a way for these guys to play college while also getting their foot in the door for a program like us, or like last year One Knox, who ended up going pro. I think that's a lot of those guys kind of standard is, let me get in with the clubs that in 3-4 years they could be pro. I already know the staff there, the fans. I have some kind of connection. And I think that's the big thing about League Two. I mean, you look at Des Moines, who's turning out 3,000 plus numbers, and we're turning out 5,000. One Knox had about 5,000 last year. Obviously, there's Ballard up in Seattle, who has set, I think, national records in outside of League Two. And it's a way for college players to keep their eligibility, but also to play some top level soccer and get in the U.S. Open Cup. And I think that'd be a great opportunity for any college player.
You look at the Mid-South Division, which is where Little Rock is here in USL League Two. Texas United won with unbeaten season, 10-0-2, 32 points. Little Rock finishes second at 26. And then it was some other teams that folks might be familiar with in the Southeast, Louisiana Crew, and then you've got Mississippi Bria, LA Parish, and Blue Goose wrapped up things there in the Mid-South. How would you break down how things went for Little Rock going 8-2-2 this season?
So going into our final two games, we were 8-1-1. And we were rolling, and hats off to Texas United. They are a beast down there in Plano. They bring in players from Gonzaga and SMU, Tulsa, all these top players. They're a solid team. I think this is the second year that they've gone unbeaten. But we did really well. We were the only team up until Louisiana Crew took points off of Texas United to take points off of them. And up until those last two games, we were cruising pretty well. I think we had only conceded 4 goals going into those last two games, and then we conceded 3. It was a tough challenge playing these teams, and the heat that's in Mississippi, or Crew has a great fan base down there. And then going to Baton Rouge, we played in Baton Rouge the night of LSU baseball's celebration for winning the national championship. So that was a mess in and of its own. Fireworks were going off probably 200 feet from where we were playing. It was a couple interesting games, but overall the team's been rolling. And last two games we kind of got to see some youth academy kids get in since we had already clinched playoffs. So no excuse for losing one and tying one in 2 games, but it's been a good season so far.
Who have been some of the standouts for you that folks would kind of gravitate toward as we get into talking about the 4 teams that are going to be there at War Memorial this weekend?
So a couple guys that have been really solid for us. Our goalkeeper, Tomasz Wroblewski. He's from Poland. He played at I think Cleveland or somewhere up in the north, but he's transferring to Elon. He's a very solid goalkeeper. He's not the biggest, but he's a Polish cat. That's what they call him down here. And then our center back pairing of Andrea Pisanecki. He played at Florida Tech. He's from Italy. And then Ethan Garvey played at Evansville. He's transferring out to Charleston. Garvey's 6'7", can throw a ball 50 yards. He's a solid center back. And then our main goal threats going forward have been Stefano Campisi, kind of a shorter winger, more of an attacking mid that's transferring to Gonzaga from Central Methodist, which is a very highly rated JUCO school. He's been solid. And then our top scorer is Lance Crabtree, and he is a little bit of a different striker that you might think. He's about 28, 29 years old. He's out of Tupelo, Mississippi. He's been with the club for years. He has 8 goals this season already, but he'll be having to miss out for playoffs due to an unfortunate red card that we've appealed and haven't heard much back from. But we brought in some reinforcements. Top scorer from Evansville, Kai Phillip, is joining the team for the playoffs, and he's solid. He scored 4 goals in 5 games for us last year. So he's not he's a familiar player to the fans here.
Round of 32 and the Southern Conference, for those following along as you fill out your brackets for your bracket challenges, it's low right. Two separate elements are in the Southern Conference. You've got 4 teams at Greenwood. It is Villages in South Carolina United. Asheville City's hosting that one. They're gonna play Weston on Friday night at War Memorial there in Little Rock. Texas United's going up against Nona. Little Rock Rangers going up against the AHFC Royals. What has Study Hall been like getting ready for the nightcap there on Friday night?
It's been interesting. The Lone Star Conference has been a big question mark. And we were used to Royals 2 years ago in 2021. We were in the same conference as them. Very solid team. We know that they're good. I mean, you don't win your division by that many points without being really good. But we've kind of had to play around with how they're going to show out because they, a lot like us, have changed formation just about every game and have a very deep roster. So it's been a very long, strenuous study hall here in Little Rock.
What kind of a crowd are you anticipating this weekend there for Texas and Nona and you guys and Royals? What's the anticipation level going to be like there this weekend as everybody's going to be crashing for the conference element there in that War Memorial?
Yeah, I know Nona might bring a couple of fans. They've got a really good fan base down there. We're kind of hoping that they get some people in because, unfortunately, like most of the South, Arkansas is a SEC football region.
I've heard
they love their tailgates.
Yes.
So that first game might be a little light on the crowd, but there will probably be a couple thousand people outside tailgating. But that second game, our game, the nightcap, we predict hopefully to break our attendance record. We were about 250 people off from our last game, which hit 5,046. And while we do play in War Memorial, which has 50,000 seats, it feels empty, but it is very loud there for a lower league soccer match.
All right, so then let me ask you this. You mentioned the tailgating. And thanks for hanging out and giving everybody the education about Little Rock Rangers there in the Southern Conference. You mentioned the tailgating aspect of it. For someone who's never been to a tailgate, what are the go-to things there at the tailgate there for Little Rock Rangers games? We know, is it any different than the SEC tailgating games when the Razorbacks are getting ready to play their War Memorial? What are the go-to items? Is there something that is indigenous to Arkansas that folks would gravitate toward there for the tailgate there in Little Rock?
I don't think there's much different. I think the one thing that I've seen the most of that I haven't seen outside of just Arkansas, because I'm a big college football fan as well, is fried pickles, and a lot of them.
Wow.
Like probably hundreds of fried pickles.
Wow.
And it's interesting to see just people eating fried pickles. I don't like pickles personally, but they chow down on them. But of course, you've got your cornhole or bago, whatever you like to call it. They've got little goals, pug goals that they set out, and they play 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and it's just a good time.
And especially when you can chase it with some cold beers.
Yes, of course. I mean, we've got a couple of local breweries down here. Lost 40. They set up their own tailgate, and they pass out little cups of beer that they give out for free. So it's pretty cool how local breweries they're out there pushing. And I mean, it's crazy to see how you can turn a college football tailgate and just flip it into soccer just that easy.
Central Conference, Valley Stadium, Des Moines, Iowa. It is Thunder Bay Chill on Friday at 5 and AFC Ann Arbor. Des Moines Menace and RKC Third Coast. How did Des Moines Menace get into this particular bracket? Here's your highlights of the matchup against Peoria City, courtesy of our friends at CISN TV.
Stackley getting the 1-2 because nobody pressed up from the midfield to pick up Stackley as Cicada's doing all the work. As the ball's played up, the line needs to step up as well through the back line, the midfield, closing the space.
Oh, what a terrific ball ahead for Lagos Kunga. It's a 1-on-2. Kunga got tripped up from behind, and that is going to be a foul on Peoria City.
Peoria City players surrounding the referee there because they're not happy with it, but it looked like it was a tackle from behind from our angle up here in the booth, and it's a yellow card.
And we talked about Manoia earlier.
Yeah, as we look at this, Manoia coming in just to the left-hand side. He's trying to get that's definitely a penalty. You can see it. Manoia taking, I believe it was Manoia Pascarella that actually fouled Kunga, but that's...
Oh, and another yellow card has been given out on Peoria City. So frustration starting to boil here for Peoria City, and here is Kunga to take the penalty kick. And blown dead for a brief moment. Kunga has 4 goals on the season. Looking to put the menace up first. Kunga doesn't get it past the keeper, but a rebound, and Valor puts it through on the back end, and the Menace strike first here on their home pitch.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kunga's taking a couple of deep breaths on that one. The rebound, what a great save there, diving low to his right-hand side. Daniel Shannon getting his right arm to it, full stretch, but it was Valor first to the rebound. As you look here, Kunga opens their hips up, not enough power on that. Pretty poor penalty, didn't hit the corner, but Valor in there with the rebound, putting the Menace up. And we're just on half-time. Referees added time, but I'm sure Kunga wanted that goal for Chenty Valor.
Valor alive.
Jesse
there
Williams, oh my word, that was blocked. What a block there, Jesse Williams with his right-footed volley.
Boy, just close there. Oh, what an unbelievable.
Fernando Garcia
making some noise here to start the second half. A brilliant goal by one of the best that the Menace has to offer.
Let's have a look at this again as the ball gets played back after Jesse Williams' first initial shot was blocked. And there he is again with the acrobatics. Can you believe this? We do know that he scored on the opening game of last season against St. Croix with an absolutely fantastic bicycle kick. And here he is again, Fernando Garcia. Hey, Hunter, what a great goal.
Turner, sharp ball in, headed through, and Peoria City is
Madrigal.
able to...
But I saw that coming, Hunter. There were 2 players on the far post against Tyler Moss. Madrigal was one of them, and Justin Wilson was the other one. It was either going to be Justin Wilson in front of Tyler Moss, or it was going to be Madrigal in behind. It was one of them. What a great execution, as you can see here. If you look at this again, delivery, great delivery, but there were 2 players in there. Justin Wilson went for the first one, and the delivery was pinpoint perfect. And I mentioned to you earlier on, as we see a substitution here, that now it's 1 goal in it. It looks like Yamazaki is coming in. It's got to be done off the ball. It's got to be sorted out.
Nzegusi 1v2. Nzegusi still with it. Nzegusi cutting back. Shot and...
Oh! A little bit of Kenyan magic there from Nzegusi. Great technique, Hunter, on that. He had options inside him, inside the penalty area. He got the ball, and as you see, the acrobatics, the backward forward, backward somersault. But the technique in that goal, how he got that ball onto his unfavored left foot, from an acute angle, beating Shannon on his far post. Take a look at this again. He just cuts back with a lovely Cruyff onto his left foot. Little deflection from Shannon onto the post and in. And that hopefully should secure it for the Menace.
Also in the Central Conference at Bishop John Darcy Stadium at Fort Wayne, Indiana, it is at 4 o'clock Eastern. Chicago City Cleveland Force, 7 o'clock Fort Wayne FC, and the Flint City Bucks. Our friends at WANE-TV in Fort Wayne caught up with head coach Mike Avery leading into the weekend.
Really excited. We've had a really good week of training. There's a kind of a palpable energy with the group that maybe a little extra focus, a little extra pop in their step, and so I think we're in a really good place. I'm really proud of the season that we've had, the opportunity that we get to play and continue to play, and I think we're ready for it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll play a better team in any of the next 5 to win a championship than the Atlante team that we played. And so the opportunity to play them, to really be forced to concentrate defensively for a long period of time, because they kept the ball for a long time, figure out ways to not only defend but attack as well, not just kind of sit back and hope they don't score on you, but actually put them under pressure as well. It was a really good experience for us. I think the guys took a lot of confidence away from it, and we've talked about it. I mean, look, we think the game tomorrow night's against a really good team. They're not as good as the team we just played, and so I think it's just human nature to say, look, that's a good preparation. It's a good step for us. So I think it was by design in many ways, in 2 ways. One, the 2 games in 3 days, because that's what you'll do if you play Friday, Sunday. That's unusual for us to play that quickly together. That was by design, and then to play a really good team on the second day of that, I think was really helpful. At this point of the year, it's like no matter how you do it, you got to advance. You got to try and eliminate mistakes and stick together and just keep battling, and then hopefully that you can get enough done to get through the game. We always evaluate games on performance and result, but you get now to this time of the year where the performance really isn't as important as the result is, but they typically go hand in hand. For me personally, it's just another chance to play. I love this team. I love being around them every day. I don't want it to end. And so the longer we can play, the better it is for me personally, because I just enjoy, they're good people. They work very hard. They love each other. And it's really been a pleasure to be around them. So I want to keep playing as long as we can. And I think we're pretty good. And so, I want to show that, and I really want to challenge that. I want to see, we've taken obvious steps from last year to this year, right? Now the next step is how long can you go in a tournament, in a knockout tournament at the end, and with the national championship as a goal. Are we ready for that yet? We're going to find out, but we're certainly progressing towards that.
Eastern Conference, Town Bank Stadium, Newport News, Virginia, 5 o'clock. It is North Carolina Fusion, Western Mass Pioneers, scheduled for 7:30. Lions Bridge, who is the host, playing the Charlotte Eagles. Sunday at 7, the winner of Game 1 and Game 2. Mitchell Athletic Complex, Uniondale, New York. It is Friday at 4, Seacoast United Phantoms and the Hudson Valley Hammers. 7 o'clock, Long Island Rough Riders and the Ocean City Nor'easters. Sunday at 2 is when the winners will square off to advance in the bracket that much further. That is your look at breakneck speed at what's going on at USL League Two. If you are in market and can catch up with any of the matchups and any of the teams, go visit. It's the playoffs. It means a whole lot to these teams as they try and chase after a national title in USL League Two. If you're in market and can't, follow along on local providers. If you're out of market and can't, go to social media, follow along, and you ought to be able to figure out where the games are streamed or where the local providers are, and you can follow up in that manner. That's your rundown of everything in USL League Two. Thanks to WLOS-TV, CISN-TV, WANE-TV, and the Little Rock Rangers, Jonathan Wardlaw, Trent Eskola. Thanks for hanging out with us here. That's your preview. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll have more for you next week.